I was like, how's he fucking with me? I know he's fucking with me. He's like the best manipulator ever. Great idea, Jake. Now do mine.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. And Jake, I know you just came up from New York, and weather is not easy these days, so thanks for coming to Toronto. We've had some ice, we've had snow, we've had everything here, so thank you for making it.
We've had it down there too. So.
Yeah, here. Denis, you described meeting Jake for dinner in New York a little while back, where you talked about inviting him to play the lead role in Enemy. And I guess it was a long dinner with a lot of wine, and
yes.
The two of you bonded that night, apparently.
Yeah, not that much of wine, but the wine was pretty strong, I think.
Oh, the wine was strong?
Because I was able to convince him, it seems.
Okay.
But no, it's just that... Is my voice too loud right now? Or? No? No, it's not. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It's a mic on a microphone.
No, but it's just that we bond very quickly. It was a big surprise for me because I was expecting him to be. I won't say what I was expecting.
Which I ended up turning out to be.
No, but seriously, I think that we met at the right moment. Honestly, I was looking for specific things in cinema, and he was looking for the same things, basically, which were to experiment with cinema.
Can you take us a little bit back before that dinner that you had when you were working with the screenwriter Javier Gyllenhaal on the script for Enemy, and thinking about who should play this character? At what point did Jake pop into your mind as the ideal actor?
The thing is, I was looking for an actor that will have the intelligence and the profoundness. Is it a word, profoundness? Sorry, guys. I need a few minutes to switch off to English, and I'm just in Toronto.
This is where I can tell him that any word means anything. It's a great moment, actually.
and it's just that Jake's came to our mind pretty quickly. And it turned out he was available to meet me at that moment. But it's just that I was very impressed by what he did in the past. And when you're trying to cast an A-list actor, it's always there's a factor of chance. I must say he was free. Otherwise, I would have to look for someone else. But he was among the very few people I was willing to work with. I was looking for. He had the qualities. It's a boring answer. I'm sorry. It's
basically no one was available on the list.
Right.
So if you want, that's the translation.
Finally, you got
no. No, in North America, you were my number one choice. There was someone else in England, I must say. But that's the truth.
You really wouldn't have been able to understand what they were saying anyway.
Jake, you decided not only to work with Denis, but to play two roles in Enemy. And as you were talking through the project and what you were going to put up on screen of these two different performances, where did those conversations start and where did they get to? How much did you input into what the final performances look like?
Well, one of the things that I think ties into that question was our first meeting. And we really did only have one bottle of wine and got wasted somehow. and I think not only on the wine, the experience itself in talking to Denis when we were talking about why he wanted to make the movie, it was essential for him at that time that he make this movie before he make any other movie. And he was already attached to the next movie, consequently, that he asked me to do, this movie, Prisoners. So he already had that on the horizon, and he needed to make this movie before he did that one, which I love that idea. Like, I don't know why I felt like we're missing need, particularly somewhere, a certain place in the arts, like that need, that want to tell a story, or not want, the need to tell a story is so important to the energy that gets put into it.
Why did you need to make Enemy before Prisoners?
I know, it's just that the truth, I was very afraid to go to Hollywood. And I was very afraid to lose my identity there and Prisoner was a much more classical movie. And I realized in the past it happened in the past as well, that to have that same kind of you always sometimes make movies in reaction to the one you did before. And like I was able to do Polytechnique because I made that short next floor just before, you know, there was an equilibrium there. And from an artistic point of view, of course, not a subject. And I felt that I had to express myself in a way, I had to do something very intimate, something that I will feel, where I will be able to do exactly what I want, because I was very afraid to get crushed by the machine over there, and which was not the case. But that I think it came from that fear. And also, I was just out of movies that were about. I was just out of this movie Incendie, what was about the war in the Middle East. It was a subject that was dealing with a topic that was, in some ways, very far away from me. But it was in the same time the movie was dealing about specific things, about intimacy, about anger, that I was very curious to explore again in a total different ways. And for me, Enemy is a kind of strange twin brother of Incendie. It all starts with the mathematics, 1 + 1 = 1. It's the same basic with a total different result.
You've talked about that equation before, but can you just explain what that means, 1 + 1 = 1?
To explain it, I have to do a movie.
Okay, that's what the movies are for. I get it. We've got a couple of clips I wanted to show from Enemy. For those of you who haven't had a chance to see it yet, the basic story is Jake plays Adam, who's a professor who discovers a look-alike, an actor named Anthony, and begins to contact him and get caught up in this very strange drama between these two lives. So there's one clip where he calls, and his wife, it's actually hard to explain. The other guy's wife, his doppelganger's wife, thinks it's him, and there's some confusion there. And we'll follow that immediately with another clip where the actor, Anthony, follows the other man's wife and onto the streetcar, which is very exciting for us in Toronto to see they were
a joy to work with.
We all love the TTC here. Let's see those clips.
Now I'm warm up.
Okay.
The thing is, you asked me what were the need behind doing this movie, and there was two things. The thing is, having done two movies that were dealing with a more sociologic subject, I felt that I was ready to go in something dealing with something more honest about intimacy, and I really had that need to do this film and about that specific subject. And it's an inspiration. You cannot fight inspiration. It's something that you have to follow. And in the same time, I had the urge to work with one person. I did in my two previous movies. I had to work with a lot of actors in the same times, and I felt that I didn't have a real creative relationship with those actors. I felt that I had this kind of relationship with the cinematographer, with the editor, but never with an actor. And I was dreaming to spend time thinking about cinema and movies and filmmaking with actors. And that project was just perfect for this. And then I was unlucky. I felt on the... No, it's a.
See how you walked in and I didn't respond, and you just look like a jerk?
He can do this better than you
But
do.
seriously, yeah, I know. Tomorrow we do it in French. But no, seriously, it was a fantastic experience, cinematic experience for me. It's a very intimate one. It's something that Enemy is a movie that is. It's unique in my life. It's a movie I feel when I show this movie to people, it's like if I invite them in my house. It's something very intimate, very unique for me. And it allows me to, it's a movie made by friends. And among those friends, I was Jake, of course, that was the main inspiration. It was a very big, massive privilege for me to work with him. And with other actors as well. Sarah Gadon is in the room tonight this afternoon with us. Sarah is a fantastic actress, and I was looking for someone that will be able to throw the ball at Jake, someone that will have to be able to.
Just at me.
And
Actually,
she's
Sarah, you do very well. Just stand in the corner, Jake, and throw the ball at you.
And it was a blessing for me. It was exactly my dream, okay, was to create a laboratory to work with very few actors and spend a lot of time with them. And for that, I was blessed.
Tell us a little bit more about how you do that practically, because I can imagine that on the set you're having a lot of conversations, but how do you actually develop that intimacy? Are you hanging out together while you're making the film? How are you getting behind the walls that all of us have and actually getting into the hearts of your actors?
But for that project, it was for me something new. I did spend a lot of time with Jake. We were all together all the time, and most of the movie was shot in studio. Very small, intimate set, designed by Patrice Vermette. Fantastic set, and so it allowed us to spend a lot of time to think, talk, to rewrite the script on set, to improvise a lot. It was always in a very specific direction. The movie was very well written, very specific, very precise, but in the same time, I wanted the actor to have the space to invade their character, and I was very. It's a movie about subconscious, the power of subconscious, and there was something very exciting for me as a director to allow the actors to play with that notion itself, meaning that by improvisation, sometimes you allow a part of yourself to go out as an actor, and Jake and Sarah specifically were very excited by this process, and it gave the most beautiful moments of the movie. Are improvisation, I think.
Yeah, he would roll takes for, we're shooting on the Alexa, so he had 20 minutes to shoot an entire piece of coverage, and he had developed a way with the cinematographer Nicolas, like to shoot within a space with a sort of mini crane that could follow us and kind of pick up coverage at different times. So, if Denis would say, here's the room, and we know what we have to get from this room, do whatever you feel like doing in this room for a little bit, but I need this from you, and this from you, and this from you. And so we would go and experiment, and he would either be behind the camera or behind the monitor, and then Nicola would be operating, and we'd be in there together, and I would do something absolutely insane, which wouldn't work, and then it would lead me to another absolutely insane sort of moment, and it would work, and you could feel that happening all the time, and he allowed for this space, which I think is incredibly daunting. You hit these moments where as an actor you want specificity, you want context, because within that context then you feel free to kind of break out of that. But when there's no context, we did have scenes, but when there's no timetable and there are no rules, you walk in going, when's it gonna end? And when will it begin?
There's something very exciting about this, because I was used to work making very few takes. I think that after 2 takes, or 3 takes, if the actor is not good, it's because there's a problem with casting or with the screenplay or with me. It's like it's usually when you have a good casting, actors will be very quickly good. But on Enemy, Jake and I agreed very quickly that we will allow ourselves to make tons of takes and to explore and to make a lot of mistakes and to not be afraid to do silly things. And sometimes the cinematographer, Nicolas Bolduc, was looking at me and said, what the hell are you doing? Where are we right now? But it was so exciting, because the beauty of it is when an actor says his line, and then you keep rolling and he says it again and again and again, and suddenly Jake was finding an idea by doing this process, or I was just letting the camera roll, and there was some accident or sometimes ideas that were born from those moments of discomfort that were quite striking. And there was some improvisation between Sarah and Jake that I'm still very proud of. There are scenes, for instance, that I never allowed myself to do that, and that's why I wanted to do a movie like this. Is you make a scene, you rehearse a lot, you do it, And at the end of the day, say, okay, it's very good, but there's something that we were not able to nail. And for the first time of my life, I allowed myself to do it again the next day in another set, with a total different mind setting, with a total different approach. The scene where Hélène, Sarah's character, is talking about the fact that she saw the double of her husband at the university is a scene that was written totally differently. But we were doing a scene, and at the end of the scene, Jake just said to me, we should do it again. And we just did it, and Sarah improvised and did something so beautiful and so powerful. We were overexcited about it. It's just that I never had the chance before to explore cinema in this way. When I did Incendie, I had 5 minutes to do this shot, and I had to do the shot in this precise. I knew that if I didn't add that specific shot, there was no movie. I was running all the time. There was no time to explore, to experiment.
It sounds like you were finding the movie and finding the characters as you were making it to some degree.
In some ways, yeah, because to do that, you have to have a very strong script in some ways. The lines were very precise, as I said. It's not an improvised movie, but the characters are improvised in some ways, yeah.
Then there became this weird moment where he became 1 and 2 at the same time. There's this great photograph I took of Denis with his head in his hands, like behind one of the stages, one of the sets that he built, having like a mini breakdown, trying to figure out where we were, you know? We meaning, you know, him and me and Nicolas in that way, and we meaning Adam and Anthony, and I remember there a couple moments where their scene was written and it was supposed to be Anthony and Adam talking together, and all of a sudden all the lines became Anthony's or Adam's lines as a monologue instead of an exchange, which was like, who are we? You know, but you could do that in a really interesting way. So it was almost like science. It was science fiction in that way, and that reality could be created however you wanted to, but it had very strict rules. Like he's saying, there were very strict rules. We would say, someone would come up with an idea, and then we'd all go, oh, no, we can't do that because, you know, this and this and this and this, you know.
How often do you get to work like this? Because I imagine you've done all different kinds of movies, massive studio adventure films and smaller films.
It's always the same. I mean, really, there's nothing that sets him apart from everybody else. In fact, I'd say he's sort of low on the tier of like, really.
There's that British director who's better, right?
No, it really like, never, in all honesty, never. It is the only other time that I had an experience somewhat like this was with Sam Mendes when we did this movie Jarhead, where there was a lot of interaction where he was picking it up. Ironically, Roger Deakins shot that movie, who shot Denis' next movie. But this never. I mean, this creative experience in the city of Toronto itself, too, I think allowed us to explore in a way. We were kind of like strangely underground, like walking around in this, like, I mean, even though Montreal really has the underground stuff, but like we were sort of exploring in this amazing way that I think this city allowed us to do. We felt safe, and yet we also felt sort of secluded too. You know, we
Toronto
felt
was like a huge, gigantic studio. It was fantastic.
No, but never.
No,
The answer is never. I've never had this experience, and his allowance and his belief in me creatively is everything. It's the thing I believe now about making movies, which is that they are all only about relationships, and the energy that's put into the movie itself is about those relationships, and you see them on screen consciously or unconsciously. That's what it is. And if you have one that's real and somebody who wants something real from you, then you should try and go back to that well as many times as it will have you.
As a point of comparison, I'm sorry to interrupt, Denis. I just wanted to show one clip from a movie that you did many years ago where there may be some thematic connection to anime. It's a movie called Donnie Darko that I think many of us would have seen. This is at the point where Donnie's discovered the possibility of time travel and wormholes. It's a very short clip. I just want to watch that and we'll come back. So, I hope you don't mind.
That's what drinking alcohol does. Go get a beer.
I wanted to show that because, I mean, obviously that's from early in your career. Similar the story of a character who's having what may be a kind of psychic break, but I wondered, what were you doing there as opposed to what you were doing with Denis? How have you evolved as an actor?
Oh, jeez. Actually, you know,
But first of all, did you evolve?
that's sort of weirdly, exactly what I was going to say. I think there was a spirit to that movie which was run and gun, you know? I mean, it was like, we shot it in 28 days and we block shot the whole movie, like meaning we just, if I had 3 scenes on around a dinner table, then I would just change my shirt and would keep the camera angle the same way, and I would do my lines from the scenes, you know, sequentially through the movie. And it was just like purely not a lot of thought, just a lot of instinct, and there was a structure of a screenplay that stood there. And I think with this there are similarities, but I think what I didn't know at that point, and I know now, and maybe I try and get back to, is that all I want to do, and I feel like I want to see as an audience member, is somebody be their honest, true self. And if anything, I think we struggle with that all the time. I mean, I'll speak for myself, whatever. You guys don't have to come along. But I mean, that's what is the amazing thing about all of it, and that's what film allows you to do. And when you make relationships with people, like I said before, that feel like it's gonna be safe somewhere, even in the danger of showing the real piece of who you are, you just wanna keep going there. And that movie was it too, but I just didn't know really that I was doing it really. It was just sort of, I was really super young and just believed in it deeply in my heart. I didn't know exactly what it was about, but I knew what it was about, you know? I didn't need to know what it was about. And I've learned what that movie was about from everybody who's seen it. You know, and that's an amazing thing as an artist, and that's what he allowed. Like every day, we would finish a scene, and the opportunity to, if he didn't feel like it was right, to redo it, or if I said to him, I felt like I could go farther, or I felt like there was something else we could explore there, or even down to the subtleties. There was a moment where I walked down this ramp to a sidewalk, and I decided to walk really slowly, like I had landed on the moon. I remember in an enemy, and I remember us like walking down the ramp, and then I just sort of stopped, and I was like, whoa! And I was wearing these really weird glasses, and I made this weird instinctual choice, and he was like, I love it, you know. Whereas like most directors would be like, can you just fucking walk faster, please? I'm like, but I'm on the moon, man, you know. And I think that allows for like beautiful moments and really crappy ones, but really beautiful moments ultimately. And I think that was being done there with not consciously always. And this was a maturity where I said, you know, you can use your conscious and unconscious at the same time, and you can actually be honest about that.
I want to ask you now about moving from Enemy to Prisoners, because actually counterintuitively, I would have thought you would have made the big studio movie first with Jake and then do the more independent project here, but it went the other way around, Enemy first, then Prisoners. Having gone through this process together on Enemy, what did that give you when you went on to make the bigger budget movie?
I think that both movies were, I was able to do Prisoners because I did Enemy first. Because I import a bit of this system of working with Jake, that what I explore with Jake and Enemy allowed me to try to do a bit the same thing, not with all the actors. You cannot do that with all actors, but for instance, with Hugh Jackman, and Jake, I was able to give them the same kind of space I had. Sorry guys, that's a shame how I'm speaking right now. I was trying to what I designed in Enemy allowed me to do Prisoners. This is more simple. Okay.
Yeah, like he always said to me before we did Prisoners, he said to me, you have to understand it's not going to be the same thing. And I'd say, oh, okay, yeah, no, I do, I understand. And he'd say, no, you have to understand. Like he said about Incendie, he's like, there are shots I need to get. And there are things in the story that I need to tell. And there are a lot of actors in this movie, and I can't pay the same attention to that I did on the last one. And
How do you react to that?
well, I had gotten, I mean, he had indulged me to the point of like insanity. It was like, like ridiculous, like an actor's dream, like narcissist's dream. Like,
there it goes. Do you feel better now?
it's there it is, but that's okay. There's, but like, but then within the scenes, he would say like, can I let the reins off of Jake for a second here? You know, he'd say like, he'd go, you can go. And I go, really? And he'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, is Roger okay with that? Yeah. And then we'd go. And a lot of times it would depend on the actor involved. Like he said, Hugh Jackman is just comfortable in that world. Like he's just like ready to go, you know, and so he allowed for that to happen.
When you say go, what does that mean? What kind of things would you do when the reins were off?
Absolutely fucking anything. I'm totally serious. Sorry to swear, but I like really anything. I mean, it's all's fair game. And I think that's what can be so fun and is dangerous about acting. If that you can use that word with those two words together. But that is what's dangerous about it, is that literally anything is. You can go after someone, you can give them love, you can physically do stuff. I mean, the world is open to you. When he says go, he goes like, just make sure there are not any sharp objects around. Wow. Do you know what I mean? No, but really, and figuratively speaking too.
But it's a way of working that allows to find better ideas very often. Because I will give an example in Prisoners. I don't know if some people of you saw it, but it's a movie where there's a scene, a specific scene where Jake's character is showing evidence to Hugh's character that his kid must be dead. Okay, and it's a very in the screenplay it was written that Hugh's character was supposed to react in a very violent way and bang Jake's character on the wall and threaten him and just release his anger. And I felt on that. Sometimes it's strange. You read on the screenplay when you were reading it. It was yeah, of course, it totally worked. But I had just shot a scene between Hugh's character and his Hugh's son just a few days before, and he was doing exactly that. I didn't realize. Nobody realized that there was a repetition of action there. Hugh's character was being aggressive with two characters, and that did, yeah, but. Those scenes will be very close together. So I just had to, on the spot, improvise a scene with Hugh and Jake. I said to I convinced everybody that we should do something different. And Hugh came with, I decided, let's try something. Just, Hugh, go. What will you do? And he improvised what I think is one of the most beautiful scenes in the film, where the characters just collapse in a sadness, and it's a very powerful and touching scene. And it's just, but that I was confident to try to do this because of Enemy.
But at the same time, the lines didn't change in the scene. The lines stay the same. I mean, he said to me, like, this is your fault, this is all your fault, you let this happen, you wasted time, was I think his lines to me. And he was supposed to throw me against the wall and say it that way. And instead, you have a father saying this to this detective, basically crying to him, weirdly having some kind of confession to him and saying, this is your fault. You did this. Not only this to this situation, but also to me. And there were so many things to be played there, and he allowed for that. That is a rarity. Yeah. I mean, it is a rarity.
It's really smart as well, because I mean, I'm a parent, many people here I think would be parents, and you don't know how you're going to react when your children are in jeopardy, but you can have the entire range of human emotion. You attracted the attention of the New York Times critic A.O. Scott in terms of Prisoners. He said something interesting about your work. He was looking at Prisoners, Incendie, and Polytechnique, and he said that Denis Villeneuve has an intense, almost philosophical interest in the nature of evil. Why don't we ask Jake if that's true?
He's like,
you're taking your actors to some pretty dark places.
And I'm the actor he works with all the time.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's a quote.
No. I think what Denis is not afraid of is just that we all have within us like darkness, And there's this is going to sound totally cliche, but I feel like there is no light without that, and he's not afraid to mine that for the light that I know he has in his life. You know, I mean, I've seen him with his family and as a father and as a husband, and you know, and as an actor in his movies, he is so loving. I mean, even, this is a strange thing, but even today, like, you know, he's the director of the movie, like, and of 2 movies, and all these people do whatever he says, and we're getting in the car, and he hops in, like, the way, way, way back, you know? And he's like, no, everybody do, you know, he's just so loving, like, and I think wanting everybody to feel comfortable and be their best selves, you know? And I think that you can't do that without knowing about, I mean, I don't think evil's the right word. I just think darkness, because it encompasses what being a human is all about, and that's what he's not afraid of that. And that's what happened when we got drunk. I was like, whoa. You know, I was like, I'm a pretty dark dude, and I was like, you know, wow, somebody finds beauty in that too, you know, and yet wants light in their life. I was like, I'll work with him. I want to do it.
I must say, it's very a beautiful afternoon for me. I'm not used to hear Jake say nice things. Thank you,
do this
bro.
more often. That's interesting, because I was going to ask you something else.
Put it in your pocket and take it forever.
Take it home. I was going to ask you, because you've made 2 movies together, you seem very comfortable with each other. There's got to be arguments and conflicts when you're making films together as well. How do the 2 of you fight? Is it screaming, raging, or is it passive-aggressive? When you don't agree, what does it look like?
No, on Enemy, it was not an issue, because he was the center of the world, you know? He was the center, so there was not a.
It was fine.
But yeah, but on Prisoners, there was more tension. I had of course, much more pressure on my shoulder, and there was moments where, because of that pressure and the things that we felt so comfortable with each other. That's the problem. We feel like very close. So when you're that close, you don't put filters, you know. So I remember having discussion with Jake, and suddenly, where are everybody? Yeah. The 200 people are left the set because we were fighting in front of everybody. No, but it's a space that we developed. Ultimately, the idea is always to find the best idea and to do the best shot and to do the best scene. And when we fought, it was always because we wanted to do great cinema together. It was always the main idea, and. So I love you for that.
There was one conversation I remember having on the phone with you where you said, like there's the character that I play in Prisoners. It was a lot of, for a moment there was a lot of hair discussions, and you know, Denis had an idea of how he wanted the character to look, and I had an idea of what I wanted the character to look like, and without knowing it, in the middle of this discussion, we started talking about a lot of things. I had sent a number of photographs of what I wanted, the inspiration of what I thought the character sort of was, and we started talking about it, and we started to sort of butt heads in the middle of it, because I can be very stubborn about certain things, because I think as an actor, so often you hold to your character so tight, and you have these beliefs of what they are, and it takes a really good director to be like, to claw your hand off of it and say that the essence of what you want to say is, I hear you, and we'll get there. Maybe not this avenue, but over here. And I think, and he didn't turn to me because we were on the phone, but on the phone he said, you push my limits. I remember him screaming that at me. And it was the happiest day of the entire, I thought that's exactly what we should be doing. You know, and what happened about the hair was that it was literally we met exactly in the middle. And without even knowing it, he wanted me to shave all my hair off, and I had shaved the sides, and then I kept the top long. And literally, but I mean, it's absurd, and it was an absurd analogy, but that's sort of what happens, and it happens all the time. There were times in Prisoners, I remember, where we were like, I would say like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And he'd be like, just wait. I'd be like, no, but what are we doing? He'd be like, just wait. And I'd be like, but why am I doing this? Just wait. And then, and I'd be like, but I don't want to do this. And just do it. And I'd be like, this sucks. And it's actually good. That's a really good idea, you know? And that just happened all the time. And I think we just, you know, we never really.
We push each other. Honestly, I think I'm a better director when I work with Jake. And when I came to that conclusion, I said, oh. I'm doomed. But it's.
One of you is going to say, "You complete me," right about
But I must say, it's something that cinema. The beauty of cinema is to create together. It's not if I wanted to work alone, I will do ice sculpture in my basement. You know, it's like I know that for instance.
That would be awesome.
For instance, I know that enemy is really the product, the creation of several people. For instance, there's a strange person in the room right now with us. He's coming from Winnipeg. He's an editor, Matt Hannam. Matt is one of the main brain of Enemy. I mean, we edited the film together. It was a huge creative process that we did together. It's like Enemy owe a lot to Jake, a lot to Matt, a lot to Nicolas Bolduc. It's a really a kind of a dream for me, a dream teamwork. No, a work of the. Not a dream team. That's not what I was going to say because I didn't. But a beautiful creation work.
Like I know with Matt, like there was a shot in there where I'm getting onto the tram and Melanie Laurent's character's on it. Oh no, before that I'm on a motorcycle and I was thinking about this, and right in the corner of the frame I don't take my helmet off. I did take my helmet off because we spent a lot of time trying to get me in the shot as I took my helmet off following her. But in the final cut of the movie, I don't take my helmet off until you see me with my helmet off following her in a different shot. And I know that Matt probably has 5 versions. One where I do take my helmet off in that, and I know what that means to him somewhere. I don't know what that means to him, but I know that he's thought about that and felt that a million times over. And when I watch it, I go like, wow, that's bad. I have to go back now and think about why in that corner of that frame he decided to cut right there, you know. And their connection of that is like it's amazing to watch objectively now to say like why those choices were made. But that is a lot. That just in that one moment I thought of him and all of the details that he has thought about in editing the movie.
It makes me think that it's often possible to divide directors into those who direct with a camera mostly in mind and those who direct with actors mostly in mind. But I can't do that with you because it feels like you are thinking equally of both. Is that fair to say?
To be honest, when I began, my first movies were all about camera work, okay. I think. I was very uncomfortable with actors, but the more I did movies, the more I felt deeply in love with the acting process and with actors, and that's why Enemy, I had such an urge to do this film because I wanted to get closer, I wanted to understand more, I wanted to explore, I wanted to share cinema. It was a big, and so yeah, so now I'm trying to find an equilibrium between both, to be honest.
There's one more clip I want to show, and it actually shows Jake as Anthony this time with another actor, one of our best, I think, Sarah Gadon. And it's where he takes a phone call which arouses suspicion from Helen. Let's look at that clip and we'll see the actors working together. It's a fantastic scene.
It's a very good example because I think it's a good idea to show this because it's a scene where Jake and Sarah improvised a lot, and there was a lot of very different takes. But I was very, I'm used to work with one camera. Some directors use multiple cameras. I don't like that. I like one point of view, find the best point of view. But when you do such a scene, I did a mistake. I shot just with one. It means that when I do overshot, you know, when I want to show both point of views, Matt, the editor, suffered so much. There is so much work in the editing of this scene. In this simple, but there was so much little things in this scene happening in the same time. And in order to try to keep the best out of it, Matt suffered so much.
Do you know
so
what?
to avoid that in Prisoners, for those kind of scenes, when I was putting Hugh and Jake in the same room, I was using 2 cameras. It was the only moment in my life I did
I want to hear a little bit more about the two of you working together as actors. So why don't we bring up Sarah Gadon? You're in the room today. Yes. Are you, Sarah? Yeah. Sarah Gadon, one of our finest actors. TIFF Rising Star 2011. Thank you, gentlemen. Just making her way down. I hope you can find your way in the dark, Sarah. There you are. Good. Sarah Gadon.
Don't kiss him. Okay. He's sick.
Sarah, we've heard a lot from Denis and Jake about their working method and how close they became and how deep they could go. Jake's just going to stare at you as you do this.
Awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about working with Jake as an actor with this kind of process that Denis has outlined, and especially this scene that we just saw?
And try to be positive.
Okay, well, when I first heard about the movie, when I first heard Denis was going to do a film in English, I was, just obsessed with the idea of being in a film. I hadn't even read the script, and I just tracked the project for about a year. And finally, I was able to have an audition with Jake. And I was really, really nervous, kind of like I am right now. I was really nervous, and I went to the casting studio, and it's in this kind of basement. And so I went in the basement, and it's like Denis is there, and then Jake is there, and Denis starts, rambling on about this obscure short film that I did, and saying that I was really great in it, and he was so disarming and generous and humble and kind and wonderful that I was kind of just blown away by how sweet he was. And then Jake was sitting in the corner in the dark.
So weird.
I was like, oh my God. And then he was just, and then you just kind of, you're like, hi, yeah. And then it just kind of went right into the scene, talking about the scene, like, what do you think this is about when you read this, blah, blah, blah. Where do you think we are? And then, so it was kind of like I had to push everything aside and just dive right into working. And then we read together, and that's kind of what we did. We just started following different lines of where we could go with the scene, and I knew right away that it was going to be an exploration. First and foremost, there wasn't kind of one specific end goal, and I left that audition feeling really excited and inspired, and just regardless of whether or not I would get the part, just feeling like I'd learned something, and that's kind of all you really want out of an experience.
You've heard from Jake about taking the reins off and just going when the director gives you full freedom, and it felt to me like in that scene the two of you were just kind of flying. Can you talk a little bit about how you put that together and what it takes to be able to do that with another actor?
There was some written. I mean, there was a scene written. I mean, there was no scene written. And this is why most actors should just write. You know what I mean? Because
Again.
as my mother is a screenwriter, just so I just say, she would throw me against the wall and bang my head on typewriter keys. But the thing is, what happened when we did the audition, I remember it being a mess in a lot of ways, and I think that's where we worked from a lot of. No. I mean, we worked from this idea of not fearing that mess,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that was where it at first was like fumbling around, really, it was just, what was that? Sorry I gave you that. What was that? I don't know where that's from. And then as it got refined, and as we started to know each other a little better, and I knew what a force she was to be within a scene, we just started saying things sometimes we'd say things over and over again to each other, and then it would open something else up. Sometimes I would just, want to upset her, but that's that weird thing. It's like you want to be upset, you want someone to upset you in a scene sometimes, or you want to be full of joy and you want someone to give that to you, and we would just exchange that back and forth, and this mess of stuff came together where, I don't know, you were just this solid as a rock in the middle of it, and then, I don't know, these weird emotional things would happen, and then we all had to give it to Matt, and he had to figure out what the hell it was about.
I think there's kind of a misconception sometimes about acting and it all being about choices that you make about the material before you actually start shooting something. And although, of course, you make choices and you read a scene and you do your study and you break it down, I think what is the most joyous thing about acting is when you arrive on set and you just are open to finding someone or something, and that is about really being very present and you're a really amazing scene partner in that way, because I would show up to work, and it wasn't about like some ego that he had about deciding to make these choices. It was like we were in the middle of a scene and he would just throw stuff at me and get reactions. And it was kind of like, sounds really corny, but like dancing in a way, because you just follow each other places.
There's a really cool thing in the scene where she's on the couch, what Denis referred to earlier, and like, it's so incredible to watch, to be inside of a scene with an actor, which like, as an actor is one of the most amazing things, to watch another actor work. And to know that, like, to get to know their animal, and this is gonna get really pretentious, but you get to kind of know this animal, and you kind of start to see where they are and how they play off yours, and they get to see yours and push you. I remember in the scene, like, when we were still, the two of us work really well together, and when we move around a lot, we get a little bit confused. You know, like we're like super still animals. Like, ooh, yeah. Chewing gum and walking is not my. But that was really amazing to see. Like, you had a partner in there that was like, if we sat down in the scene and Sarah was lying down in the scene, all this stuff came up. You know, whereas when we were walking around and doing the other way, it didn't come up in the same way. And it was so amazing to see it.
I learned so much things doing that. Yeah. And to do so, you must say, you have to have a cinematographer that is like a documentary cameraman, you know. It was like documentary film work. We observe, and we were following the two animals, creating chaos in front of the camera. It was a really beautiful experience.
But that's why, I mean, you are such a great scene partner also, because we were working on another scene, like a completely different scene, and you were just really in tune and listening and watching and seeing where my head was at. And it was the first time I'd ever experienced on a film where we could backtrack and reshoot another scene. Jake just said, let's just try shooting that other scene. And we did, and I'm really glad we did, because something different and interesting came out of it. But it was such a beautiful and trusting environment, because I don't think that would have ever happened on a different set.
The only problem with that, it was Jake's idea. Because it was a great scene.
There was this amazing moment where I caught Denis in a corner once, and he was like, and I was like, what's wrong? And then we were shooting, and he was like, there was always this moment. And I was like, what moment? Where my crew knows my movie better than me.
It happens at the 2/3 of the movie. At one point, the cinematographer and the actors, they are so in the film, and then it's a total success, because it means that everybody is so involved that they bring very often strong ideas, and I have to put my ego aside and to accept those ideas. It's very tough process.
This is interesting, though, because I mean, you're talking about what you're doing as actors within what is a very precise visual aesthetic. The film has a real look to it. It makes Toronto look like a kind of a yellow hell, which is interesting, and it feels like the camera's all very precise. And then you guys are just kind of given freedom within that. How do you know that you're all making the same movie?
I'm a hidden dictator, and I'm very manipulative.
Totally. By the way, he said that when he was sitting in the room, like, everyone knows the movie better than me. And I was like, how's he fucking with me? I know he's fucking with me. He's like the best manipulator ever. Great idea, Jake. Now do mine.
So you're the boss in the end. That's the answer.
But it's my job.
We're going to have to wrap it up soon, and we're going to leave some time for your questions. I want to just ask one final thing. There is often talk among movie fans about classic relationships between directors and actors. Scorsese and De Niro, George Cukor and Katharine Hepburn, John Woo, Chow Yun-fat. All over the world, there are these amazing relationships over a number of films. And you don't know what that is sometimes. Chemistry, timing, the taste that actors and directors have in common. What do you, Denis, and you, Jake, have in common that's going to maybe keep you working together?
He's like John Woo and I'm like Katharine Hepburn, so I have no idea how the fuck that's gonna work out. That might be a pretty badass combination, actually, if you think about it.
You see Catherine Hepburn with 2 guns.
Doves everywhere.
No, I'm always very careful when I'm talking with actors and actresses because you don't know where inspiration will bring you. But I would love to work with Jake and with Sarah also again. I mean, it was a privilege for me to work with them, and I would love to work with them again. Jake, the question is specifically about Jake. I think that we are both in looking for authenticity, and we started our relationship with a kind of a convention, a kind of a dogma, no bullshit. Try to be as authentic and straightforward as possible to develop a true friendship. And it's very awkward because we are from 2 different worlds. We are came from so different worlds, but it just life brought us together. And because we were so truthful in front of the other and ready to share our intimacy and our life experience, and there's something that's bonding is very strong, and I think that the fact that we are not afraid to push each other and to be truthful, I think it can be a long-term collaboration. I think that I see that this way. You don't think so?
Well, he promised me the best, quote unquote, the best maple syrup that I'd ever taste ever, and I still haven't gotten it at all. So that's the reason why I've made 2 movies with him, because there's this promise. No, but no,
He always try to make jokes about Canadians all the time.
This might be the wrong room for that.
And I'm from Quebec.
Why do I feel like that'd be a bad idea right now? The thing about it is that I feel like we're both in service of, like, as an actor you have to go, how much do I respect the person I'm working with, and particularly their aesthetic, because aesthetic is, you're inside of their aesthetic, like you exist within that world, and you have to just deeply respect it and know that the framing and the choices of the shot of how you're going to do whatever you can do is going to get caught. It's going to be picked up. It's going to be respected also. And like, I don't know, I think what makes it cool with us is that the movie always comes first. Like, whatever he wants to say or do, like, it always is the first thing. Like, I care about that so much, the story. Like, that's where I was brought up, and knowing his family and like where he's from and my family, it's about the stories, you know, and that's what's respected. And more than anything,
You're going to get that maple syrup. I'm confident.
I don't know about that.
Listen, let's open it up to you and your questions and your comments for Jake, Denis, and Sarah. Just raise the lights a little bit, and remember, we do have microphones on both sides of the room, so somebody carrying a glow stick will approach you with a mic. Go ahead, right here.
Oh, I wanted to ask Denis, he was talking about the pressure of making a Hollywood film. Did you feel any pressure making Prisoners, because it's so dark throughout the film? And I was surprised by also the violence in the film, how stark it was. It wasn't glossed over in any way. So did you have any pressure from producers or from the studio to make it a little bit lighter or to tone down that darkness? And
No,
how did you respond to it?
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of that project is I had total freedom in some ways. They protected my identity instead of trying to control it. It was for me, you know, people say things. I heard a lot that those producers were nice guys, that they will protect me, but I was always in my mind, the back of my mind, afraid. But at the end of the day, I had even final cut. I mean, they really. I remember. I did the movie I wanted to do with that screenplay. So for that, so I think Hollywood is like anywhere else. It's just that there's a lot of different kind of people, and I just felt on the right ones, honestly, as a director, because they were very, very respectful of my process, and they totally respected the aesthetic and what I tried to do. In fact, we improvise, we change Prisoners, we we did a lot of change, and they were always welcome. At the end of the day, I was spoiled, I must say. Yeah.
Someone on this side. There's a question right down here. Microphone's coming. Just 1 second.
For Jake and Sarah, I was just wondering if you had any advice for actors that are starting out in the film industry.
Don't do it.
I would say discipline, because I think a lot of people don't realize how much discipline and self-motivation you have to have as an actor. So I would say discipline is probably going to be your best friend. Work really hard and take class and be open to doing as much work as you can, and just always, be your own champion.
I would say be kind. I mean, I think that it does, contrary to popular belief, take a good amount of intelligence to be an actor. And I think that it also takes a great deal of kindness and the depth with which you don't judge people and your partners in the work you do, not only your scene partners, but the people you work with outside of that, will inspire you and guide you always. And he's actually he's a very kind human being, and he talks about how, I don't know how it happened, like they just let me do what I wanted to do. But like the luck part, that might be true, but I also think, and that is true in a lot of ways, but I think also that kindness will definitely, and I am not like a pushover softie, like I'm totally judgmental in a lot of ways, but I think that kindness is everything inside of a scene. And when you give to somebody inside there, it's like it's everything.
And if I may quickly, Sarah said something. She said when she came to the audition, she learned something and she took it. I think that don't be afraid of audition and don't put too much pressure on your shoulder. Take the audition for itself as an experience. Even if you don't get, you will get one day a part. It's just but don't put too much pressure on auditions. Just, it's an experience where you can learn something. That's what
Good point. Yeah. This question right there, and then we'll go to the back. Go ahead.
I have a question for you, Jake. I was wondering, in Enemy, you get to play 2 different characters, which is a dream role for an actor, but what did you feel? Like, did you feel it was challenging or difficult or confusing?
Yeah, I think that's a cool question. Well, there were very technical aspects to doing it, because there were these scenes where we were using like this motion capture camera, and so I had to act with myself and not with myself, and then a tennis ball, and then hear my own voice in my ear, and then we tried to bring an actor in who was wonderful, and then it just messed me up because I had heard the scene the way I had heard it and said it from the opposite side, and so the technical part was really sort of amazingly frustrating, and really opened stuff up. But to play 2 characters was to see how little you can do, how much you can do with a little bit of change, is really cool as an actor. A lot of times I would do stuff and Denis would say like, less. I can really see the difference between the 2 of them, and I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, less. And I think that's kind of a cool thing, as we as actors try and do a lot to sort of show that we're acting. A lot of times, like the little bits are what everybody seems to notice or feel, and he definitely does. So that's what I learned from that. More, it was like literally a mirror of making choices and making them smaller and having them be big as a result of it.
In the back, yes.
Could you talk a little bit about the spider imagery in the film?
The spiders.
Where did that come from?
Don't talk too much about it, though.
Spiders?
Yeah.
What movie are we?
Me? No, sorry. The spider imagery. It's not in the movie is based on a novel, and the spiders are not in the novel, and because the book is very complex, and I was trying to find a specific image that would express something that was very strong in the book, which was the relationship of the main character with his mother, and the spiders are an image that are related to in a subconscious point of view to motherhood. That's all I can say. I'm very generous right now. Usually I say nothing but about spiders. But it's just that for me it was the perfect image. And I'm not used to work with surrealistic images like this, but it's so it can be quite powerful, and it's just a perfect image.
You did make a film narrated by a fish.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
As I was saying this, I was saying to myself, "Don't go there. I don't want to talk about the fish again."
Right.
Okay. No, but no, but it's really an image that what I love about the spider is that I love when the audience can find their own interpretation of it. I don't like to impose my own view of it. It's really an image that has a precise meaning, but I think that very easily the audience will find the meaning of it, and I love that.
Okay, question right here. Thank you.
Question for Jake. You've spoken very passionately here today about the relationship you and Denis had during your filmmaking. How is this going to affect your future choices for films?
He can't work without me.
I've been living in a cage. I made another movie since Denis and I worked together, and I was on stage in between that in New York City. I mean, to me, it's about what I realized with Denis is like it's about defining really what you're capable of to someone. You know, a lot of times, like I want to be something or play something that I'm not, I can't do. You know, and that's sort of the dream of being an actor, is like being able to say. And what I learned sort of with Denis is that he always wanted me to be closer to myself in a lot of ways. And that's what I sort of do from here on out. Like from when we worked together and we finished, that's what I did. I go to say to a director and I say, this is who I am. Like, you know, I might push your limits. Are you cool with that? And you might push mine, and I am cool with that, kind of. But are you down for that? You know, because I am who I am, and I want to learn, but I want to make that clear, because there's nobody who showed me who I was as an actor or an artist more than Denis has. And so I know the good and bad. And so I want to be clear with the director about that. And that's how I will move forward. And that's a result of the honesty of our relationship. And I've done a couple other movies since then, and it's been really great. And that's what I've learned from him. I take him with me, like, even if he's not directing the movie. I really do. I take him with me. Like, I know somewhere that it's right because he sort of said it was right, you know? And so I'll be like, no, well, we can do this, you know? And then sometimes a director will be like, oh, well, that's an interesting idea, and then maybe we'll try, or maybe we won't. But it's because of all the things he's encouraged.
It's amazing. Time for just one more question right here. Can we bring a microphone down right here? Okay. Why don't you go ahead then? It's going to take a while.
It's a bit off topic, but...
oh, actually, you know what? Mike's coming right here.
Hi. 2013 was a great year for movies, and Prisoners was definitely one of my favorites. So I'm just curious to hear from you guys what your favorite movie or movies were from last year.
Quickly, I should say it's true. It was a beautiful year for cinema. There was a lot of strong movies, and I was amazed by a lot of them. Actually, there's too much. The 12 Years a Slave is a movie that deeply touched me. I just saw Blue Jasmine from Woody Allen last night. I was blown away by Cate Blanchett in this film. There's a lot of them.
I'm weird. I'm a bit ADD. Like, I like pieces of movies.
Which one stands out?
Pieces of the movie? No, but like the full movie. I mean, you can say I really love a movie, but a lot of times it's the experience when I'm drawn in emotionally and I'm like, and then it usually goes, it's like a beautiful melody and some sort of symphony or something, you know, and the symphony's amazing, but it's the moment you remember. What, to me, I think like Tom Hanks's work in the whole movie of Captain Phillips, really the last 5 scenes of that movie, along with the direction of what that movie is and the way they all work together with real human beings who are not actors and actors, is absolutely extraordinary to me. Like Paul Greengrass and how he melded that together with that scene with the nurse at the very end was so moving to me. And so that's something I look at and I go, I aspire to that, and that's just a moment. But as a movie, it's so hard to make a good movie anyway that if you're in like the top 500, you know, praise the Lord, you know? Really.
Yeah.
Sarah?
I saw her and I really loved it. I thought it was so great. Again, the kind of intimacy of all of those relationships and just the reminder that you don't have to make a huge film and you don't need a lot to make a film that's really powerful and intimate and makes you think.
Did you guys saw The Wolf of Wall Street? God. I love that so much.
If you want to know what making this movie was like, it was a little like that. And then we would like pretend like we were making a movie. Denis encourages that. That's why I always want to work with him.
We're definitely going to have to leave it there. So I'll just ask you to please join me in thanking this incredible team up here: Denis Villeneuve, Sarah Gadon, and Jake Gyllenhaal.
It was nice of you to come join us.
Thank you.